That is the big 7 icebergs that very few people address within their big financial strategies. Now, the way I want to end is actually giving you a little bit of a bonus. And so if we scroll down into these additional thoughts and notes for day one, I want to stick a little bit longer onto or on this point number 7 with taxes, the tax iceberg. So what I want to do is I want to draw a little bit. Yep, this looks good. All right. So what I want you to do on either in this section or on your notepad or wherever you're keeping notes, I want you to draw buckets, specifically 3 buckets. Now, I am not an artist, but however, your buckets are probably better than mine. But here's what I want you to do, and here's really what I hope is going to be your big takeaway from today, and give you a little insight of how maybe really where you are currently, because I can't, you can't change from where you are, can't get to where you want to go if we don't realize where we're starting from. So bucket number 1. So this is our tax now bucket. Bucket 2 is going to be tax later bucket. Bucket number 3 is our tax. Oh, get out of my way here. I'm sorry. Got a chat box in my way. My tax never bucket. So tax now, tax later, tax never. And bucket number 1, our tax now bucket. What I want you each to do is think about where your money is currently sitting. Now, obviously, it's probably going to be in a lot of different accounts, but wherever they are, they will fall into one of these 3 buckets. So I want you to start listing out. So like a checking or a savings account, going to be short-term money. If you were to earn any interest, now interest rates are starting to creep up. Nice for the savings side, I suppose. But that would be in the tax now. You get, if your savings, you have, $1,000 in there and it grew to $1,005, your bank would actually send you a 1099 at the end of each year. So this can also be referred as the 1099 bucket. You get a 1099 at the end of the year saying, hey, your savings grew by $5 and you owe taxes on that. What a great deal. So what accounts do you currently have sitting in that tax now? Similarly, let's look at our second bucket, our tax later bucket. So this is going to be any of those type of accounts that are, again, taxed later. So we get to write it off year 1. So this is going to be your 401k. This is going to be a 403b. This is going to be a traditional IRA. You're not paying the taxes now. You're earning it, this year, but I'm going to defer those taxes, right? Defer those taxes until some point in the future. So again, that's going to be, like the 401k bucket and the similar type of accounts. So list all of those out. Number 3, tax never. Now, there are a few things that fall into this tax never bucket. Not quite of an extensive list as the first 2, but the tax never bucket would be type of accounts that you could possibly get a write-off, so you don't have to pay taxes now. It grows, so you don't get a 1099 at the end of each year that it continues to grow. And 3, most importantly, when you take it out, it does not get taxed. So a lot of times people think of your Roth. That's really bad writing. I'm sorry. That's our Roth accounts. It could also be, there's a couple different municipal bond type accounts or products that are out there. It could also be 529 are those type of accounts, because if you do use it for that higher education, then you're not taxed on the growth. And when you take it out, as long as it's for that higher education, it's actually not taxed then. So those are examples of that. If you happen to have any cash value life insurance, that would also fall under that tax never bucket, because you don't get taxed as it's growing. And if if and when you access the cash inside of it, you're not taxed then. So those are the examples of the 3 buckets. Any questions about what the 3 buckets are and what you're listing out? Okay. Not seeing any questions. So I hope that's very clear. So what was the last thing you said in never? The last thing I said in never was cash value life insurance. So 529s, Roth IRAs, some different municipal bonds can fall into that category, and cash value life insurance were the ones that I mentioned. So now that you're looking at each of these buckets and where your money is currently sitting, the question I have for you is, where in a perfect world would you want your money to be sitting? And if it's not there currently, why? You know, if it's bucket 3 that you want your money sitting in, why is it that you're not there currently? And my guess is because you never actually sat down and thought about that 90% that we don't see every day. We don't see, when we don't, it's out of sight, it's out of mind. When it's not smacking us in the face, it's like, oh, well, we're all busy, we're all going on about our lives. So that's what I want you to have for today, is make sure you have all of that broken down on where you're currently saving, which bucket they're falling into, and then in an ideal world, where would you want them positioned? And this is where we're going to pick up starting tomorrow, day 2 of this masterclass of building lifetime wealth.